Anyways, guys, welcome to another episode. A special one now, because I remember, you know why I called you even?
Yeah.
And now I almost cried.
It has started.
Hey, it always starts.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. Perfect.
You know what I was thinking? Oh, okay, I think I got to know of you. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
Early 2024,
Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah.
And I roamed through. Because I think that vote and to approach you know that you always do these things of August, it's a Women's Month, bring them,
Yeah.
Are you aware or November is also like Men's Mental Health Month? So you should consider such things.
So that's what brought you to bring myself into this session.
The thing is, Nandra won as video. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get this person eventually.
Okay.
But then I don't even know when I'm gonna get them. Because I always have that thing when you want this strategy, okay,
Yeah.
you call that in,
Yeah.
you call that in. And I was like, okay, November is that month. Jamoni could consider all I'm tungo. So I'll come back. Did you want a video?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's how I go to like invite you. Then I started inviting you, so I should go on, which is what you were saying.
Yeah, no, the schedule is quite tough. The
Yeah.
schedule is very, very busy. So, Rene, obviously, in a day, we do about 12 to 15 counseling sessions. Yeah, 12 to 15 counseling. Some of them, they vary.
Yeah.
But I think because of the experience, Nazori, how long we've been operating,
Yeah.
it gives people a sense of peace. Or, hey, okay, I can be able to get this guy into my inner space so that they can be able to assist us. And the 19 years working in this field is quite a long period.
It's a lot, eh? Yeah, but then, guys, back to Inyanas, just so you know, where are we? So, I'm still coming at you live from Panda Studios as always. You know, quality. I like the fact that you knew them also before.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I know these guys. So, whatever quality, if you want to know more about they also have a website now. I think it's www.pandastudios.com. So, yeah, if it's in Panda Studios, you should be able to come out and be able to rent out anything, that's equipment and all that. But then if you want to do podcasting, that's what they normally do now. And then live streaming of the video, make sure you contact them on 010-023-2939 or info@pandastudios.com. And then this episode is probably brought to you by MR21 Funerals and Insurance. If you want to know anything about the funeral plans, like always be ready for anything that might happen in life. So you have a phone and then you know of anything, the packages never run out, and see how you can work around that. So contact them on 015-151-0251 or 0252. So you can even contact them on that number wherever you are, and then
Definitely.
yeah, so you see that's how we make it now. Because you're asking
Yeah, you need that little bit of background expertise to fashion. It helps you to understand and communicate well, knowing that purpose and that conclusion of matters.
And you know what another funny thing was? I think you called me in the morning. You're like, because in my mind I was thinking, Venda. I've never heard you speak Venda. I feel like
Chivenda, to be honest, to be exact, not with my own people. Venda in 1996, Rich Block G.
Wasn't born there. Hey, you stayed in Block G?
Yeah, Block G, Radzorana Block F, just opposite Manini.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, Richie Jena Kereke Yawamadzinge.
Oh, CWC.
CWC. Then Mara Unera Vahone Straight, Gore Rivashavi, Vamianjui. Side is above Vondwing and Matache. But you go further a little bit down. So Netshiozwi to be exact, one of the sons of Haji, our great ancestor, and Nekotsangaba Godfrey Netshiozwi. So from that lineage, that's where Chivids of Bashabi. So Venda Baba Yuda. To be exact,
about us there
black Jews to be exact.
The Jews.
Yes. The history speaks so. Although Nietzsche traces the history of the original vendors. They also share ancestry with people from DRC.
Oh yes,
the Congolese. So, Rene, we are not necessarily far from them. Northern Transvaal at that time, Richikadabana President Mpepu was not necessarily our original landmark. Our original landmark is actually predates that. So yes, Venda opera ndiamba Venda. Itovori Venda chone chida chiskoto bva zwavhuḓi ngori
mara cha thando chito chi right abulji so kuba that's what I was thinking Chivenda nyenda chichipi yeah Venda nimdo
yeah Phumudzo matter of fact na madzina mavhili a Tshivenda
there basani kana
ndi Phumudzo Tivaisali Rick Netshiozwi so Tivaisali ndi la khotsi yanga Phumudzo obviously ndi dzina ḽo thoma ḽine ndo fhiwa mara Tivaisali ndi ḽine ḽa bva kha khotsi yanga and then Rick ndi ḽa Tshikhuwa so henezwi ndi tshi dzhena into this social space that's where I came with the notion uri a ndi shumise Rick ngori vhathu vanzhi vha khou struggle nga Phumudzo hone Tivaisali vhathu vha fonyeya vha tshi khou amba dzina then that's how we grew into this space and this is how we became so vhathu vanzhi vha ḓivha Rick Netshiozwi mara vha tshi bva tshifani tsha Netshiozwi vhathu vanzhi vha maZulu vha Matswana vha vhona ungari ndi bva some African country up that side mara ndi tshifani tsha Tshivenda to bori zwifani zwo no thoma na nṋe ndi zwifani zwa kale
zwa vhathu vhane vha na mashango avho like mondo all those things
correct vhathu vha any surname nga Tshivenda tshine tsha vha na NE according to what I've learned and zwifani zwine it carries some sort of ancient history with it
funa na neri Tshivenda Mudau it would make sense
ungari Mudau ndi vhathu vha Lomondo if I'm not mistaken
kanye na Tshakhuma
na Tshakhuma
ndi vhathu vha Chieni yange
ndi vhathu vha Mahosi to be exact
when you're speaking of DRC I was trying to think to myself because no zwifhe zwoṱhe zwo ri rine ri bva DRC na mini I think there are people that speak Venda that side
there is if you meet some Congolese people or people from the Democratic Republic of Congo there are certain spaces when una madzina a Tshivenda so even na vhathu vha kale vha Tshivenda vhane vha ḓivha history ya hone huna vhathu vho no amba Tshivenda tshine tsho to fhelela some of the words are even older tshine na ini kha ri na thoma amba na vhala vhathu ndo zwi uri mara ndi Tshivenda zwi khou fana na ma-Afrikaner these are properly Dutch people ngori if you go to certain places of Dutch ancestry and those for no man this is Afrikaans man utobori chikotobva in a different format because languages evolve as times proceed Chizulu chine chokwambwa zwino asi Chizulu chine nangamba nofana Tshivenda cha zwino cho tamba badi utobori
do you think we're going to evolve also such Venda rashka one muthu wakale auya nga siripfe
languages by nature they must evolve because as society grows becomes better more formidable more accessible certain languages start to mix into other dialects and then that's where you get what we call enriched or diluted languages it's a normal phenomenon of life Tshivenda cha zwino na Tshivenda chine no vhalaho ni chikoita bo standard 3 standard 2 azwifani too different
na tonga ri ḓo bva kha dzi marriage ra focus kha history ya Venda I like it a lot man
I did a lot of history one thing people don't understand of why I'm so good when it comes to marriages is because you cannot describe marriages without understanding the perception of history if you want to know the future study history if you want to know what the current times are going to hold you need to look at history I grew up from the church world to be very exact and so when we were studying certain essences we understood history oftentimes repeats itself so that's why I went into history to understand the full structure of marriages why marriages are the way they are today and why they were successful prior marriages were very successful prior but in our time they are not successful at all and there are many reasons for why they're not successful because each marriage carries its own DNA of how it operates our destinies and our purposes are not the same
they're two different
two different items so you can't give a one size fits all answer you need to be very prevalent on the matter that people are different in and of themselves and if you don't understand that you cannot counsel marriages
Yeah, so before we get into the marriage now, you're speaking of all these things around Venda, and I mean, so I was trying to think of a guy. Because one thing I saw is that you have a degree accounting and finance,
Yeah.
but then you then went elsewhere. Now you say, I'm like, also I have a problem. Do I say problem?
Yeah.
It is a problem though.
Okay.
They do all that, and then after when they want to further their studies, they abroad, and why is that?
You know, it's not necessarily go abroad. Exposure is powerful in life. So there are two ways of which you can learn, formal or informal.
Yeah.
However, you still reach the full extent of what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So, net to be exact, I started in the accounting space.
Yeah.
And when I started in the accounting space, that's where the first place actually I did study was in Midrand Graduate Institute, which now is called Pearson Institute. Obviously, they changed the names. Then I left and I went to UNISA. That's where I did my BCom in accounting science.
Yeah.
Wow, but when I worked in the field, I realized, this is not for me. Then I went into NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic practitioner from there. From there on, I went and studied theology, all the way up until doctorate, but with a specialization of marriages. The thesis was on that particular area. But the core fundamental area was Greek and Hebrew. So that's why I do also what we call transliteration, where we take the original Hebrew and the original Greek.
Yeah.
And we try to translate it to make the Bible more finite for people to be able to understand and so forth. So that's the space that I'm in. You know, I've also got a diploma in graphic designing, a diploma in sexology as well. No, I'm quite a learner. I'm sexology.
What's sexology?
It's the study of sex.
Oh, hey.
It's a study of sex. So anytime you reach the word ology at the end, it just means study. So when we come and we say theology, theo,
I was going to come to that.
Yeah.
Theo
is God in the Greek.
Oh, okay.
And then ology is study. So you're literally saying the study of God. That's what theology means. So when people come and say ology at the end, they just mean it's a study of something. I can come and say vendology.
Oh,
and I'm saying I'm studying Venda and so forth. Yeah, that's what it is.
And then does that make you a pastor now? Now that you went to do this theology?
Yeah.
Because there's like a calling and studies.
Yeah,
they differ.
You see, these things are completely different. When you are called to be a pastor, you must be anointed for such items. You know, it's not something you can assume responsibility for. And studying does not mean that now you can be a pastor. No, you can be well versed in the literature of biblical understandings. But however, you can find, you don't necessarily have the grace to explore that field that you are presuming yourself to be called into.
Yeah.
So studying does not make you a pastor. I mean, I knew I was called by the time I was 18 years old.
Ooh, how do you know?
There were certain realities that began to fashion. You know, certain notable ministers would speak into your life. My own mother, before I was born, knew the perception of what I would become. Even Bishop Madzinge spoke into my life as well. Dr. Mtali, Prophet Eisel, the list is quite long.
Yeah.
But at that time, your mind was not sharp enough to collect the full picture of what exactly you're going to come into. And today, you know, we're in this space because obviously these particular giants and people of notable backgrounds began to speak. And that's how I knew the calling is there. You know, and so you grow into this space, and that's why I also have a church at the end of the day. But marriages remain the ultimate call of my life. Fixing that area fixes civilization and society. And that's why I decided to go and learn marriages for all these years, so that I could be at the top of my game to actually restore marriages properly.
And hey, I think the statement you know what, in the churches here, what they always pretend that everything is going well. And then now you're like, not focus also.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like,
You know, falsehood is a big thing in life. People are trying to look big, they're trying to look great, they're trying to look like they've got everything all together. And this thing, to be honest with you, it makes us to sell what we are not to the public. There are so many struggling people and marriages out there. And the problems, you know, comes where they don't know how to resolve it either. They know the problem, but the solution is very difficult to find.
Yeah.
So the fakeness of life and trying to look like you've made it in life has defrauded a lot of people to thinking that I can try and look perfect. It's almost like saying, you know what, I'll be in the bathtub, but I'm just going to sit because I'm clean. Whereas there's a soap and everything. So a lot of people are trying to look clean when they are not. Whereas the reality is that you can be cleaned properly. And so growing up, I came under that impression. Too many people are trying to look perfect and it's not working.
So was that the reason you went into marriage counseling?
I went into marriage counseling because I saw the marriage of my parents.
How was it?
My parents, after over 25 years of marriage, they went into a separation. But it was one of the most difficult spaces of our life, you know, and I saw the fights, the physical fights, the arguments, the drinking, you know, all these things. And so we went through that period for over 7 years, you know, and some stage when I was 16, we didn't stay with our father. I only spoke with my father over the phone, you know, so whenever you wanted to engage with your father, you had to deal with him over the phone. And then when I was in university, I spent close to 3 years without eating Christmas with family. My family was the church. So I would go to the church to spend my Christmas. And after that, I would go to Stelland in Sterkenico to watch a movie. And that was my Christmas for 3 years. And so we went through some grievous challenges. I know the power of divorce. I know what it's capable of. I saw our brothers' relationships, parents, that thing disorientated us to such a great degree that I wouldn't want to see it happen to anybody. I wouldn't want to see it happen to a lot of people, though people go through it, but I wouldn't want to see such a thing go. That's why I even do premaritals, to help people not to make mistakes in selecting partners.
Before they even get into it.
Exactly, which is something that's very common in South Africa. People just marry for the sake of fun.
Yeah, she's beautiful. That's all people
that's
want.
It, you know, and you realize that beauty alone is not enough to make a marriage itself work. And so when I saw those things, the fights, the arguments, that thing can be traumatic. And sometimes you won't understand trauma until you go through a part where you start fixing yourself and you realize, oh man, I was actually in trauma. I didn't realize that I needed to fix this particular area. And that's why you'll find parents start to speak to their children certain ways, not realizing that that's not what the parent actually wants to say. They are also in trauma. They are shocked. They don't want to be in that particular space. So when I saw the degree of these problems, I said, we need to fix marriages.
And I'm going to be the one.
Yeah, and that's where the purpose was born from. And my socials, by the way. We started the socials 2 years back.
Really? Only 2 years?
2 years back.
But then the way they've grown, you would share like the show 5 years ago.
No. The socials, we started them 2 years back, to be exact. When we started to really focus on it. We posted one video, it went to 180,000 views. And then we're like, hey, when there's a need over here.
And the comments also.
The comments were, I mean, I did a video on why do you want to be a stepfather? You know,
hey, that's a big one. Stepping up is too much. Podcast.
I'm telling you, and that world is not easy. The fatherlessness society, which is what we carry, has created a vacuum of women understanding, you know, why it's important not to go into relationships just like that. You know, so the reason why I asked that question of why do you want to be a stepfather is because most men enter relationships without understanding the purpose of why they want to be an actual stepfather. So the abuse animates, a whole lot of things animate because we don't understand the reason why we want to step up. And there's nothing wrong with stepping up. It's just that it's not an easy arena. The child also has some challenges that they're going to go through because of stepping up. Literally.
Yeah. And then before we go deep into marriage now, because but then since it's November now, so it's for men.
Yes.
So like to you, what is actually a man and how do they differ from boys.
Yeah. You know, a man is a foundation of society. They are the literal bone structure of what civilization is today. They are the bread and butter that fixates the whole gluing of what society is today. Without men, you cannot have what we have today. They remain the actual head of everything in totality. No matter what women say and no matter what they do, they cannot change the full picture of what a man is. So we must not just look at him in the sense of making children. There are certain capacities that a man carries that has built civilization to be the way it is. I mean, the buildings we have, the roads we have, the inventions we have. Even for us, over 90% of the inventions we carry, they are actually done by men. So you cannot take away the foundational structure of a man in terms of how important he is to society. So when I look at a man, I look at the very root that is planted, that a tree carries, that we don't normally see in some instances. The man is literally the one holding the very, society that we carry today. That's what they are to us when we look at them.
Yeah. And then although they're so important, why are they so ignored? Because you see there's like Women's Month that, yes, I did mention. There's Youth Month also. But then with men, like, seems like just when you think of them.
Yeah, society ignores anything that's important. By nature, even if we go to a tree right now and we look at the roots, you don't even focus on them. You focus on the fruit that comes out. But you never look at the actual root that actually gives the fruit its sustenance. And that's the problem of society. Society focuses on the aesthetics of stuff, the fruits of stuff, but it never focuses on how did we get there. And that's why anything that's important becomes ignored because people don't understand the fruit of it. For example, you have this podcast, right? It's a phenomenal podcast. I watched the viewership and the followers online. However, they don't see the discipline behind recording every show. They don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see those things. They see this final work. They don't see the editing. They don't see that. However, those are the stuff they don't want to concentrate on. So when they watch you, they'll be like, I would like to look like that. But they don't know the price to look like that. So men are looked at the same way. Most people, if they come to you, they'll tell you, my father paid for my school fees, he paid for my house, he paid for this, he paid for that. But then when they celebrate in the forefront, they'll be like, so my mother was with me the whole time. And so when you realize that, but your father, I know he was there, but you don't know what he was carrying in order to get you there. And it's not like that in all homes, but in the homes I've seen, the least appreciated phenomenon of life is the most important. That's why I always tell people, if you want to get far in life, do the boring stuff. The boring stuff is what builds people to be what they are. If you want to look great physically, you have to go to the gym. If you want to build yourself academically, you have to go and study. I remember I was addressing a group of young children and I said to them, your feelings do not like studying. No, they don't.
True.
And we say, hey, Bamsanda Kababara.
I'm just glad no further.
Exactly. I mean, so studying is boring, it's dragging, it's painful, but your feelings don't like it. However, when you go to graduate, your feelings celebrate.
Tell me about it.
I'm telling you, your feelings, even when you go to eat out after you've graduated, your feelings are excited, but they never liked the fact that you are studying.
True.
So it's much like that in life. If you want to become great, you have to do the things your feelings don't want. But you will enjoy the benefits, and so will your feelings be celebrating there with you as well. And that's how life works.
And then what do you then say about those people whenever my mother, happy Father's Day to my mother? What do you say about such
a woman will never be a man no matter how much you say happy Father's Day to a woman. you must understand that we must learn to separate roles perfectly. Femininity will never be masculinity, and so will masculinity never be femininity. These things, though they are cross-referenced, they are not normalities of life.
Yeah.
So we need to be very cautious about saying those particular words.
Yeah.
Some people, their fathers really want to be in their lives, but the way the relationship with the mother worked out,
Oh, there's that, yeah.
it created this barrier where though the man wants to participate, he's forbidden, he's stopped, he's fought against. If you don't pay, you can't see your child. Those realities are there. However, they don't necessarily suffice for all circumstances of life. But if you call your mother a father, there's a problem now.
And then what do you then have to say about the feminists? Because the one whenever whatever men can do, we can also do equally.
Feminism is a cancer. Simple as it is. There is no... we need to look at it properly. And so let me correct it.
Yeah.
Pro-feminism is a cancer. There's nothing wrong in celebrating the femininity of a woman.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong in giving them strength, power, giving them leadership roles in certain spectrums of businesses or just life in general. But within the confines of a household, femininity will always remain a sub-role. It does not make it a less significant role. It plays a purpose in its spectrum. So pro-feminism to me is a cancer. I don't support it. I don't work with it. I don't believe in it. Even if you call me for some pro-feminism item, you're not going to see me there. I believe in femininity. I believe in women. I believe in leadership roles, but it must be done in a healthy way without the exclusion of men. Once you exclude men out of society, you're excluding the roots that a tree carries. And there's no way society can stand like that. That's why when you go to the United States, they say something very important. It's the household that are raised, young children that are raised by mothers only. They end up in prisons, they end up in drug abuse, they end up in this. To show a woman alone cannot raise a man. There must be some sort of masculinity that the young man must come across in order to identify with what he must become. So pro-feminism will destroy society. It will destroy what children can become. It will destroy the whole spectrum of society. But those mothers who are raising children alone, it's not a bad thing. Some men died in wars. Some men died in various spaces of life. But there must be a male figure that plays a certain role in that young man's life or daughter's life.
And then in that male figure now, they're not allowed to be in their feelings now. In Venda, they even say to So like where do we go now from there?
I believe men are more emotional than women.
But then they don't show it.
Yeah. Men are internally more emotional than women. Women are externally more emotional than men. But both of us are emotional. It's just that women express emotion different from the expression of men. A man's emotion is expressed through logic. But a woman's emotion is expressed through tantrums, vocalism. It's expressed through it's expressed in various formats, but they don't express it the same. So men are highly emotional but very quiet.
But then doesn't that kill us though from the inside?
It depends on the process of the predicament the man is in. Some situations in life don't require you to vocalize. They require you to process internally, like in terms of thinking. Some of them, they do require you to vocalize. So I would always say to a man, always find somebody whom you can be able to speak to, refresh your mind, vent out towards. But if you don't have such in your life, you'll have difficulty moving on, because we were not designed to live as an island. We were designed to live as social beings. So a man must express himself in various vicinities of life. So this is very important in and of itself. And that's where mental health is very important. Because if you're a man and you're being abused by a woman, you're not going to have good mental health.
Yeah, true.
Women do abuse men as well.
You see, such things, I wouldn't go out there and tell my friends, hey, I'm being abused at home. I'll just keep quiet. And then 3 months later, I've killed myself.
When you take bread from all these shops, there is bread that is healthy and there is bread that is not healthy. So the same is true when it comes to a man. There's an ego that is healthy and there's an ego that is not healthy. When you sit down and you don't express that you're being abused by a woman, you are running in an ego that is not healthy, which is filled with pride. Pride and ego are not the same thing.
Okay.
So a man must learn to express when he's being abused by a woman. Otherwise, they will tear you apart. South Africa has one of the highest male suicide rates in the whole world. South Africa itself. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, we can confirm the statistics. South Africa is sitting in the top 5 most suicidal male figures in the whole African continent, if not the world. And so it's very important for them to be very expressive. And when women abuse men, they are not aware that they're abusing some of them. Some of them are very much aware that they're abusing. So they are human. They go through challenges. They go through all these types of things. And some of them, in my marriage counselings, we had to even rescue some men from very abusive women. That these women would even go to pastors, leaders, and other counselors who would stand with them. And when they would come to me, I would tell the male figure straight that you are being abused, man. This person does not care anything about you. And you're going to end up committing suicide. And we've had instances where men committed suicide because of abusive spouses, abusive women. So to have a good mental health, learn to talk, learn to express yourself to men that can be not use your information against you, but build you up as well as you are within that space of work.
And then now on to you. Do you have that someone and you're like, this is my safe space?
Oh, yes.
I can talk to. Because it's people like you, who they are out there motivating each and everyone. And then after that, you kill yourself.
Yeah. Now, I've heard of instances like this. So I have my father. Me and my father, we talk. We are best of friends.
Oh, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. He's a judge. And we talk a lot. When I go through challenges in life, I prefer firstly to go to my father.
Okay.
My father is my safe space that I speak to. And he holds my information confidently and confidentially. So in the world of friends, there's what we call confidants, constituents, and comrades. These are the 3 types of friends you'll have in life.
Let's explain.
So when you are let me start with a constituent. Constituent is a friend. No, let me start with a comrade. A comrade is a friend that fights against what you fight against. So if I come and I say comrade, that's where we get the word comrade. But the Americans, they say comrade. I don't know why they changed it. So if we go to the streets now and we march against GBV, we are all comrades when we are standing there. We are fighting against what we are. We are all fighting against the same thing. However, a comrade's relationship ends with the fight. When we all go home, we don't know what happens in our own individual lives. You understand? That's a comrade. However, then you get what we call a constituent. This is a friend who fights for what you fight against as well. But the fight is more on a individual, more enclosed. It's a person who believes also what you believe in. That's what we call a constituent. Then you get what we call a confidant. A confidant is a person that you confide in, that it tells you the truth. These are honest personnels that you can share your information with. So my father is my confidant. We share very crucial information in. You might realize that I'm not saying anything concerning my mother. The reason for that is because we are talking about the wellness of mental health of men as well. But I also do confide in my own in mother. She's still alive. However, if both of them were not alive, I would also have other people that become my confidant, that become my go-to space, that become my constituents and my comrade. And all of us must have one of these 3 friends within our lives.
And then with the latter, right? Is it the one that they will rather tell you the truth even though it hurts you?
Of course. Of course.
People are not ready to have those ones.
And they're not. They're not. And people can discard friends who are honest. And those are the friends that actually build us. They make us to become better. That's why even in the confines of marriage, your spouse must be a confidant. They must be able to tell you the truth without offense. If you get into offense when your own spouse is trying to construct you and add value to you, there's a chance you're in competition with that particular person and you don't see the value of what they're trying to drive. So So a confidant is a necessity of life. I believe a person must have at least 2 to 3 confidants in life that they can go and confide and open up and vent and share. And then that confidant will respond with a truthful statement to say, look, man, I believe you're arrogant to your husband. I believe you're arrogant to your wife, man. Go change this thing. But if you sit down there and say, no, you don't even know what you're talking, that person is not a confidant to me.
And then now there's, there are institutions like your Munandi event.
Yeah.
Do you think those institutions work for the men?
Men, to be honest, are very sacred creatures. They are not necessarily so privy to all these mass gatherings. Men are more interested in trying to build themselves individually. So I don't necessarily prefer to put them in group settings. I prefer to put them in one-on-one settings. Men are very beautiful, honest, great creatures. However, we need to learn how to work with them. And one of the greatest things, because I counsel more men than women, by the way. So when I sit with them, I realize that on one-on-one, they are expressive, they are vocal, they open up. Something that a lot of wives have not learned when it comes to men. They don't know how to get masculinity to open up. They've not been taught how to get masculinity to open up. That's why they believe in shouting, screaming, throwing pots and pans and oil towards the men. But the person has not learned how to get masculinity to open up. Just as much as men have not learned how to get feminism to be at its best.
And then there's this statement, men that don't deal with their issues tend to be abusive.
Oh yeah,
Is that
definitely. You become what you don't conquer. Simple as it is. You will always reflect to other people your failure. I always use this statement that was mentioned by my Lord and Savior, which says that love one another as you love yourself. What that actually means is that you cannot love other people to the degree that you don't love yourself. So in other words, how much you treat other people is a reflection of how you treat yourself internally. So you need to be very much aware of that when dealing with other personnel. So yes, men that don't open up, that don't speak out, that don't get solutions, that don't have confidence, they become extremely abusive, they become very quiet, they become very gothic, they become narcissistic in nature. They carry all these attributes because they are bottling up poison. And that poison ends up destroying the relationships that they have. So it's very true that men can become like that. Matter of fact, anybody that bottles up poison can become like that. So it's important to have a place to actually speak. And that's why I'll still go back to confidence being very important.
And then now into the marriage part now.
Yes.
Let's start it easy. When is the right age to get married?
To be honest with you, there isn't really a right age. And I've heard people talk about you must first study and pass. You must first study. In some societies, people get married at 16. In some societies, people get married at just over 20. I mean, I got married at 23. I didn't have time to run around with other females. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted. I married her very young. We were enjoying ourselves. We did a lot of things together. My wife, I met her when I was doing first year university. That's when I met my wife, and we've been together ever since. Matter of fact, from the age of 18 onwards, I don't know any other woman besides her. So it's very important to know what you want in life first. That's what will determine whether it's the right time to marry or not. So in the Jewish customs, people, they would say that a girl, even from the age of 14, is even ready for marriage. In other customs, they say when she's 18, she's ready for marriage. And though the body can be ready, the mind as well needs to be ready. So anybody can be ready at any age pro 14. However, it's all dependent on the customs and societies that you're coming from. So there's no rightful age. People can even marry at 50. They can marry even at 30. They can marry at 20. It's all dependent on you, your destiny, your purpose, and what you want to achieve in life. That's why I say marriages have their own DNA. You cannot use a one-size-fits-all answer. We get these couples that are coming from seminars and boot camps and whatnot. And they'll be like, it didn't work. And they'll sit down there and say, we don't know why it didn't work. And I said, no, you need to understand that you can't take one answer for every marriage.
Yeah, probably work for others.
Exactly. It might work for a few, but the masses, you find that it doesn't because each relationship has its own DNA. That's how life works.
Yeah, so the reason I was asking about the age, there's this concept I've heard of. Yeah, the frontal lobe. Apparently, it's the part of the brain it fully develops at like 25.
Yes.
So people tend to say, okay, if you get married early, then there's a high chance that you're gonna get divorced because you were not like fully on your thing, on your decision making. Age. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, that means I should have been divorced as well. I mean, because I got married at 23, and if they say the frontal lobe develops fully at 25, I mean, then I should be already having summons on my desk from my wife. You know, I've noticed most marriages that live very long, especially marriages I've seen that go over 50 years of marriage. Most of them met when they were in high school, secondary school. They met when they were in university. So it's a very vague statement to use concerning the right time of a person to marry. I've seen people marry even at over 30 and divorce in 2 months' time. Yes, but yet with their developed frontal lobe, as people would say, but they still develop. I've seen people get married at 40-something years of age and divorce 5 years before 5 years even reaches. So it's all about what your parents have instilled and inundated in you that determines the quality of marriage that you're going to come out with. It's not necessarily a reference of age, but it's a reference of how much knowledge has been deposited in that person to be able to handle the full stratum of marriage, including the very challenges that life brings towards us. If they are well developed within those particular areas, they can be able to conquer marriage. Even if a person marries at 18, but they go for premarital counseling, they can outlive people who marry at 30-something years of age. That's why I always say that when you sit down, you say, I've been married for 30 years, I've been married for 35 years. That means nothing. You know, there are people in miserable marriages who've been married for 40 years, 20 years, and you can't learn anything from them because they themselves are struggling to have a good marriage. So the numbers is there, but there's no substance that you can be able to carry from those particular people.
Thank you for watching this episode. It is proudly brought to you by MR21 Funerals and Insurance. If you want to know more about their funeral plans and all the insurance that they have, make sure you contact them on 015-151-0251 or 0252. Or you can contact them on their WhatsApp number, which is 061-509-0775 or www.mr21.co.za. MR21, true respect. And then you went and studied marriage.
Of course.
You did say, I know the history of it. Why was it working back then and not working now?
You know, the back then there was a sense of accountability.
Okay.
You know, back then when you got married, men would come as a society and give you guidance. Women would come as a society and speak life to what a woman is and what she ought to do. And when these two people come together, they would also have places when they had issues, they would go and be able to give account as to pertains to the issue. And they would get solutions and go back and apply them. And back then, if you're caught cheating as a woman, you were dealt with harshly. If you're caught cheating as a man, you were also dealt with harshly. There was a sense of accountability. Now, everybody's almost like a lone ranger. There's no place of accountability. There's no place of talking. There's no place of engagement. There's no place of proper diagnosis of matters. So that's why marriages were working back then. There was a sense of family, a sense of loving children, a sense of loving society, a sense of wanting to build something that's reputable. Now, there is none of that. Right now, people can get into a relationship now through WhatsApp. It doesn't even take 5 minutes. I made a mistake. I don't like you so more because she didn't have the curves that were long enough like the one that you are seeing 5 minutes later. So the problem remains the fact that we are not a principled, cultured society of now. We are like lone rangers. We are very selfish. We are harsh, not developed, and so forth. So we become people that enter what we call popcorn relationships. It pops up now, and then you eat it, and then it pops up again, then you eat it to realize that people are not building relationships.
So are we ever going to have those marriages from back then? You think it's done?
We can if people decide as a society to make the decision that they want to. You know, they are what we call closed group people. For example, if you look at the Jewish community with a less than 2% divorce rate, and you ask yourself, why are their marriages working? Because they still believe in certain items that they walked, their forefathers walked in, their mothers walked in, their fathers walked in. Right now, if you have a problem in your marriage right now, and you go and report it to your own parents or your own representative as a guardian in the family, you'll recognize that they'll take your side when they are running those sessions.
Yeah, true.
And back then it wasn't the case. You went to a third party and they would speak, they would engage. There was a person who was an elder of the society or community who would necessarily assist in that particular reference. But today we don't have that. People just get out of things without fighting for them.
Yeah.
They just want quick, people marry now and then they divorce and then they think they can get into another marriage and make it work. You don't have the foundation that's correct in the first place.
I think apparently there's like plenty of fish in the sea now. That's what they say. So if you're not working towards my standards, and I'll get another one. Yeah. So that's what they're doing now.
Yeah, that's what they say. But is that what you want to live with your children? The fact that you can run from one woman to the next and one man to the next? I remember meeting a lady, phenomenal. She passed on, but she was a phenomenal lady who slept with almost 19 men. And I remember when
Did she tell you that?
No, she said it straight. And she's like, I want you to raise an awareness out there with the information I'm giving you because I don't want other women to go through stuff like this. And I said, hey, at that time I was like, nah, I can't release this publicly. But today I was like, okay, let me say it. So she said, ever since she slept with 19 men that she counted herself, she's like, my mind is not straight. My mind is not straight. I'm not thinking well. Every man I meet, I think of the past one, the two past ones. This one has good finances but bad sexual performance. This one has good sexual performance but bad finances. So I then at one point came across a study called microchimerism. And though it's not a fully researched study, they discovered that they can take the fluids that are sitting within the gateway of a woman. Let me put it that way. The gateway. Yeah, and they can study in terms of how many men a woman has slept with.
Oh.
I don't know how true that study is in its fullness because it's not yet finalized, this particular research. But to be honest with you, the more a woman plays around out there, the more unstraight her life becomes. The more a man plays around out there, the more unstraight he becomes towards one woman because it creates a mindset of variety. Today you want a one with a big chest. Tomorrow you want a one with small calves. Then the day after you want a one with a yellow skin. Then you want a one with a dark skin. Then you want that creation of variety has made us to lose authentic marriages and relationships out there because we're no longer now living to build proper relationships. We're living to build a picture.
Yeah.
We look good. She's beautiful. My man has money. And that's the end of it. And you realize in the long run, you can't build a marriage out of that.
And then based on your sessions that you've had in the counseling, like what are the main causes of divorce? The
main causes of divorce is lack of proper, thorough communication. Transmission of information from one spouse to the other is very flawed. So people don't have the technicality of how to transmit information to the other. There's what we call the study of personalities, which in the professional space we call it temperaments. So if you don't understand the personality of your spouse, you will not be able to know and understand the way in which they communicate. So the highest causes of divorces is the inability to transmit information properly to your spouse that can help to build that particular relationship. So people believe in shouting, screaming, rather, let me step out of the house and go and start a relationship somewhere else. But that destroys rather than build. That's what actually gets people to walk through the real core of what divorce becomes at the end of the day.
And people always avoid that theory, okay, in the communication.
Of course.
Then what members are okay, there's like cheating, there's this and that.
Yeah.
So why is what you want to focus on cheating is the main reason which got divorce?
Yeah, cheating, if I was to put it properly, cheating will never be the core of why relationships get destroyed.
How's that?
Cheating is an after product of the real core. Cheating is a manifestation of what did not work in the area of communication, accountability, and responsibility. So cheating then begins to animate. I'll explain, for example, someone will come to me and say, my husband just went and cheated. And I'll say, okay, some of them will believe that it's themselves. And I said, no, we need to speak to him and find out why he went out. And you discover that this man has not learned accountability. Because he's not learned accountability, he decides to go out because he knows he's not going to be accountable for the cheating. He's going to rather choose to lie, to get into other various types of conversations to try and get out of those particular, findings. So the truth of the matter is that cheating is not the core of the breaking of marriages. It is not being responsible, no accountability, and the inability to transmit information from one spouse to another that causes a person to have a fruit of cheating. And that does not mean that the other person is right in cheating. It does not mean that the other person is wrong in being cheated on. No. The truth of the matter is these three cores have not necessarily been structured well in the marriage and well educated into the marriage. So you find these particular outcomes that are happening.
And then if I then try to communicate all these things and then still there's no change, and then I go cheat, is that maybe better?
It will never be better. Remember, cheating in of itself is one of the strongest betrayals of the outcome of not having those particular three forces in your life. So cheating will never fix anything. It will just make it harder to fix that particular relationship. I'll give you an example. I once came across a couple, at the airport that I was just communicating with. And as I was communicating, the husband went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The wife stayed with me. And she's like, my husband has a woman in each city. How? So now I'm sitting there, I'm standing, and it's not a counseling session. This is just a person randomly speaking. In each city, he's like, he's cheating on me badly. He's doing this thing. I feel bad. Maybe it's because I was not giving him his conjugal rights in the bedroom. I was not doing that. And I said, you are not the problem. I literally told her straight, and I said, he is struggling to transmit information to you. That's 1. 2, he's not a responsible person. 3, he's not an accountable person. That's why we're getting these fruits animating. Cheating is actual fruit of what has not been covered in the core foundation. So though people are running around looking at cheating in our time, the truth of the matter is they're looking at the wrong area. We need to look at the principles of the person, the upbringing of the person. We need to look at their foundation as a person in order to build that. But cheating in of itself, there are women and men that encourage it. In the Zulu culture, they say that, hey, if the woman is not satisfying you, go get someone a spare wheel outside. And you're wondering, Kuti, imagine your own daughter as a father is being seen by another man as a spare wheel. Think about it for a moment.
But then what should I do also? In this case, what should I do if this is satisfy Wayan?
It's not necessarily about satisfaction. It's the foundation is what I'll keep pouncing on. Have you went for a sex class? Have you went to be educated about those particular items? Because it's one thing to go out and say she's not satisfying me, whereas you've never deposited or invested the learning foundation in order to excel in that area. It's like getting into the marriage and running it by osmosis and thinking that we will just master this thing. It's best to go and learn. There are 96 sexual positions out there that people can have. And yet you've been doing 3 for the past 15 years. And you're asking yourself, you can fold a man or a woman, man. There are many positions out there. There are many ways to caress and get yourself to be, at a very satisfactory point. But the problem remains, people don't want education.
How can they book about those positions also?
Oh, yes.
Because people, I feel like, so they'd rather get a book about it.
Oh, yeah. No, there are phenomenal number of books out there that people can buy. Even myself, I've written a few books. We have one that's coming out. Actually, it's out already. It's called When Men Are Denied Sex.
Oh, yeah. Saw it on the website.
Yeah, we started with that one. So now we're going to be moving into one concerning positions, how to stimulate and all those types of things. And, people are so self-righteous that they don't even want to get into those particular areas. Marriage is 60% conjugal rights. Without flirting, touching, kissing, caressing, all those types of things, you don't have marriage. You don't. You can talk, but you'll remain friends.
Yeah.
But there's a deeper side to it, the orgasmic planes, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
But the true problem is people don't want education. The ignorance is baffling that is happening out there. Literally.
Yeah, ne? Guys, I'm sure I was no so and then also about the book, I think I should ask about it now.
Yeah.
Or you did say, or if you mean why a man is denied sex.
Yes, yes.
And then why is that? Cause
when men are denied sex, so there are certain things that you need to understand. A man needs sex just as much as a woman needs affection.
What's the difference between the two?
Affection is the ability to speak, communicate, tap your wife's butt in the kitchen when she's cooking, hugging, buying flowers, appreciating the person, speaking certain words of affirmation. That's affection, which builds up a woman to get, you're basically marinating her for sex.
Oh,
you understand? Then you also have the man himself. He needs sex, because if a man doesn't get sex, he comes to a certain level of aggression. He doesn't even think straight. Matter of fact, studies even show that men can't see properly in certain instances. No, men need sex. The mind does not even pick up information properly. That's why even in sports, I know in the rugby space, even though South Africa is playing Japan today, they even stated that they would rather put men in camps so that they build up the aggression.
Oh.
You understand? Because a woman's body is peace to the man. When you see your woman beautifully standing, well-dressed, whether short miniskirts or so forth in the house, and you're just looking at the beauty of your wife, it's therapy to you. You sit down and you are even proud that I've got
that's mine.
Exactly, that's mine, because we're territorial. However, though women don't understand that side of a man, the truth of the matter is that the more men see the beauty of the wife, the more peace they get. So instead of the woman being peace at home, she becomes frustration. But the truth is that she's designed with all the tools necessary to put comfort, peace, tranquility into the husband. That's why when a man is finished having sex with a woman, what happens to the man? He goes to sleep. Because the sex that the woman gives the man releases 3 chemicals in his brain that 2 of them force him to sleep, so that the agents within the body, they start rebuilding certain frustrated areas of the man's body. So the woman's body is actually medicine to the man. And people don't know that. So when you start fighting and arguing, no, just become feminine. Do what you must do to the man, same as the man, become masculine. Do what you must do to the woman. And this is where both parties miss each other. They miss each other heavy in that part. When they argue, sex flies out the window. You're not going to get anything.
Oh, there's that also.
Yes.
Yeah.
South Africa has one of the highest rates of sexual deprivation that I've seen in my counseling sessions.
Oh, I wanted to ask, where do people get all these dates?
It's a mindset of manipulation. That's where it comes from. It's breaded in there. You know what? If you don't want to do what I'm telling you today, I'm going to make sure that you don't get these rights that are yours, whether male or female. Manipulation comes in. I won't send you money because we had this particular. It's bred in manipulation. It's an evil nature that people carry to try and manipulate each other where it's mostly painful in order to get what they want. That's what it is.
Okay. And then you got yours in varsity, right?
Oh, yes.
And then how do I know that this is the right one that I have?
Well, with me, it wasn't necessarily a matter of knowing. When I looked at her, with a man, it's a matter of a choice. I remember one old man that used to be my mentor in the area of counseling.
Yeah.
And he said, Rick, picking a woman is like going to a field of corn or maize and saying, get the best corn. That's what he said. And I said, how? You have to open all of them. And he said, that's the mistake everyone is doing.
I was about to ask that.
Exactly.
Lots of variety.
You need to first look at the healthiness of the corn. You need to look at the tree, its roots. You need to look at all this to determine what is inside. So it's the same as when I looked at her, I saw somebody who thinks well, processes information well, cautious in certain respects, forceful in certain respects. She was beautiful in my sight. perfect height. I knew that, okay, this is for me right here. So I'm going to invest into this part. And this is where people miss it. The reason why I say invest, that person is not at the full height of knowing you or understanding you. That's why now you need to go through the journey of investment into that particular person. And that's what happens. You'll never get a complete product.
And then if I go into the field now,
Yeah.
and you ask me to get the best maize, then I check out all the routes and everything. Mostly Venda, I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
December
Yes.
Yeah. So what then happens if that happens to a lady?
Those are hidden realities that somebody does not express to you. And therefore, we need to now look at measures to resolve those hidden realities. And this is where you help each other to perfect things that damaged you when you were young. Every relationship is going to go through that. There are certain people whom you're not going to go through that. There are certain people that because you love the person, you're going to go through those realities of fixing those particular items. However, they are unfixable personnels. There are people who are in marriages today that they are regretting why they are in those marriages in the first place.
And then do you advise them to leave the marriages?
I wouldn't advise them to leave the marriage. I would first advise them to first go and look for help. But if the help cannot help them, then yes, I would advise people to literally go their ways. The reason for that is because some people staying together is more deadly than them actually, leaving. I'm sorry. Some people staying together is more deadly than them actually leaving. So it's very important to advise people, well, there are people who have even killed each other, whom were not supposed to be actually together. So you need to be very thorough. A life is more important than marriage. I always tell people that a life is more important than marriage. But then you'll get all these so-called intelligent personnels who come out and they say, the Bible, for example, especially the Christocentric marriages, you find they say, but the Bible says you must not, separate, you must not this. But you can see that this person is dying, man. This person might not even see their grandchildren. They might not even live long to go through any types of those things. The husband is cheating heavy or the wife is cheating heavy. And you're sitting there and you say, so you're going to follow that particular analogy. We're going to try our best. And you can see they're dying. So sometimes don't force things. The reality is sometimes we go through challenges that you might find these people are not even compatible. That's why we advise premarital. And, to be able to know, are these people compatible? Can they really last? Can they really, stay together? And in some cases like us, we'll tell people, don't marry. You're
I was going to come to that also. Do you advise people? No, just don't do it.
There are people we advise. After we've done our premaritals and so forth, we tell them, you guys are not fit for marriage.
Even people who've been together for say you're 7 years, 5 years, 10 even.
Yeah, those are different now because there are children involved. So now you need to be very intelligent how you can't just break up a family. You need to see, can we be able to resolve the matter? Can we put certain measures to get them to try and fix these particular items? Because displacing children is deadly.
Yeah.
Most children that grow up with single parents don't grow up to be proper, to be solid and so forth. They have areas that they need to fix in their growing up life because of certain elements they missed from either their mother or either their father. So I would always advise people, if you're already married and you've got children and the relationship is very toxic, first get help. But if you're not married and you can see these ones is not going to work, we'll tell you straight that, look, this marriage will not work due to 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've had ones that forced, did weddings, everything.
And they still come back
and still come back and they say, hey, you told us not to get married, but we're here today. And you're like, this is what we were talking about. This is what we could see. Our experience has spoken volume concerning what your relationship would turn out to be.
And then how do I then determine if I'm compatible with a person?
It's all about destiny. What do you want to be in life? You can't necessarily just marry anyone as and when you wish. You need to look at, can this person fit to the mold of my life? And that's why some people, they enter relationships not understanding that I'm entering with a businessman.
Yeah.
I remember in one instance, I was running a seminar. And after the seminar, one lady came to me and said, and it wasn't a marriage seminar, it was a business seminar.
Yeah.
And she came to me and she said, hey, my husband wants to leave me. And I said, why? She said, because he said I don't support him. So then I pushed the lady, I pulled the lady to the side and said, lady, Do you know that most businessmen that are successful are actually in their second marriages? Look at every phenomenal businessman right now. It's either they're divorced or they're in their second marriages or they're doing girlfriends only. And I said to her, you need to first go to him and ask him, how do you want me to support you?
Because communication.
Exactly, back to communication. Because a lot of men or women, they don't know how to support their spouses. And their spouses are the ones to teach them what they should support. So she was like, but I wash his clothes. I cook for him. I said, that's responsibility. Responsibility and spousal support in the area of business and destiny is not the same. It's like going to a man and say, yeah, but I pay the bills, so it shows that I love her. You know, and you realize, but that's not enough. You know, you need to go and ask her what is her love language and so forth. So most people, to be honest with you, especially in these particular areas, businessmen, divorced women, or anybody divorces when they don't know how to support the person that they have. That's why some people leave, because they feel they are building the thing alone. Why should I stay with you in the first place?
Yeah.
When I come home, you don't support me, you don't push anything, you don't even ask about the business. That's why when most men die, especially in our black culture, when most businessmen die, nobody takes over the business. The business dies with the man or the business dies with the woman, because we don't even train our children to take over. You know, I was assisting one Muslim lady, and she was running the finances of her husband's business.
Yeah.
The husband was running the other core elements of the business. And I asked her, and I said, do you know how your business is? She says, I know everything, from the products all the way to how it must function. And I'm already training our eldest son to run the business. And I said, isn't your husband supposed to do that? And she said, doesn't matter. The fact is, our children must know how the business runs. But then I also went to a black couple and I said, hey, aren't you training your son? The father will see how he does it. Plus he's cheating, you know.
There's always that element in black culture.
Exactly. And you're asking yourself, Kutia, that's why this thing will not have a legacy. And sometimes it's the men vice versa, who are like that as well. So the truth of the matter is that our culture still needs to have a lot of learning that needs to take place. And that's why we invest in premaritals and so forth. I realize over the years, a lot of couples that come for counseling are white. You know, I get white coming, I get Indian people coming. When I started off, I realized blacks are not coming. And I sat down until one day, you know, I was like, there's something, we need to check something. Yeah, but the divorce rate was very high. We divorce 428 couples per week in South Africa. We displace 57 children per day in South Africa.
But then blacks have that thing in every. No one can tell me how to live my life, because no one is and then they came back to life to be able to advise me. Don't you think that's the reason, maybe?
Yeah, well, pride has always been an element of some of our heritages. So when that pride hits a person's life, I mean, that's the types of responses you're going to get. And so if you get those responses, I mean, what else do you expect? I mean, it's a broken society in and of itself. We have a lot that we still need to build. We must remember apartheid, in and of itself, it was not a 50-year thing. You must remember the engineering of apartheid started when Vasco da Gama and Jan van Riebeeck landed here, which was in, I believe, 1652. So the engineering of apartheid started over 200 years ago. So it's not something that we started now. So if you look at democracy and say, yeah, no, we've been in democracy for 30 years and so forth, you're trying to fix an over 200-year engineered problem. And so therefore the society requires a lot in order to build ourselves as black people. Some of us came out of liberation 20 years plus ago. South Africa being the last born to get out of liberation. The truth of the matter is that there are certain traumas and certain learnings and certain things that we still need to adopt in order to become better as a society. But you realize that a lot of them, they don't want to learn. So that pride element has reached a place where we think we've made it, but we have not.
Okay, and then speaking of supporting, going back to what you were saying, I have this lady, they're supporting me, and then are attractive in a way.
Yes.
Which is where the side chicks is homogen now. And I like it because also you also have a book about the side chicks.
Yes.
So I was like very interested in content ya pala ndimindi. So don't you think also la they do everything for you, just that they are not like attractive nending are in khola muthu wanga ni khou sumbedza vhangana vhanga.
Yeah, what I've learned about women, and I'm sure some of them will comment on your platform. Women don't mind, some of them don't mind sharing a man.
Yeah, true.
I thought, you know, when I started dealing with marriages, I thought it was a joke. But women don't mind sharing a man.
Yeah, they just need money.
They just need those particular areas. So side chicks, to be honest with you, have always been there, even in the times of ancient history. They either need assistance, they either need, they just want to break someone's union. Some of them, they just need financial capacity. Some of them, they just want sexual, conjugal, benefits. So there are many reasons why side chicks are there. But what I have learned in my life is that side chicks by nature, having spoken to quite a few in my life, in order to write the book, some don't mind living that life. It's just what they want. And you can't stop them because it's their own life. But they destroy more marriages than anything I've ever seen out there. Side chicks.
In what way?
Right now as I'm speaking to you, outside there, I can guarantee you now that there's a side chick climbing into a car somewhere to go and give sexual benefits to somebody's husband.
Who's probably been deprived at home.
Who's probably being deprived at home. However, it doesn't make it right, you understand, to go and now start sourcing somebody else's daughter. And I need to stress this.
Yeah.
That side chick is somebody else's daughter. You understand? It's somebody else's pride and glory as a child.
Yeah.
But to you, it's just a side chick. Somebody had just throw a few couple of thousands towards, have sexual benefits and go.
Yeah.
And you need to see them at that particular, instances. I remember speaking to one side chick. I was writing my last chapter, and she was making close to 300,000, collecting from 7 men. And I said to her, would you like your daughter to live in such an environment? She said, no. I would never advise my child to enter this thing. And I said, why are you still there? Why are you doing what you can't advise your own daughter? And she's like, I just love it. I just love it, but I'll never advise my daughter to be in. So some side chicks don't love to be in those spaces. They are just hooked because of the pleasure, the money, the fact that they enjoy destroying marriages, they enjoy destroying men's lives. Some of them is just they are lost mentally. There are many reasons that people can become side chicks. But when they get deadly, it's where some of them even pass on before their time. So side chicks exist, and some men know that, and they take advantage of it.
But then don't you think side chicks work like, gangsterism? Yeah. So it's more like, I'm going to make money through gangsterism so that my kids and the coming generations can have a soft life.
Being a side chick will always remain a cancer. It's not something somebody should be proud of. It will never build anyone's life. Being a side chick will destroy your own morality, your own sense of focus, and your own sense of direction in life. It's just unfortunate that there are women who have made it a career and have used very nice terms such as slay queen and so forth to try and cover up the fact that they are morally diabolical. And that's something we need to understand. It's somebody who does not carry certain values and ethics in life. And therefore, they stoop low to the level of becoming somebody's side dish for the essence of money or essence of pleasure. And that's not a life. You understand? That's somebody, to me, it's somebody that has failed in life. It's somebody that has not succeeded in life. If you find yourself as a side chick, you have failed dismally, in life. There's no sense of purpose or direction. If you're busy running around with somebody else's man or so forth, literally you've stooped to the lowest of the lowest. And that's all that men will see you for. That's why I always tell people, and I always tell women, build something strong and solid for your life. If you can't find a man in South Africa, go to other countries, you understand? Like, avail yourself, make yourself, out there. But stooping to the level of a side chick is a symbol of a very defrauded mind that can't really think straight, and it can't really have its own. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, because I wanted to come to that also. Okay, now there are these ladies who they're not getting approached at all.
Yeah.
So at some point they're like, okay, I'll be the one to approach, and then just going I'm trying. So I'd rather be the side chick. They just or at least one and I do have someone in life that can satisfy my needs also.
You know, the world of needs is very important, but I don't think that there's a lack of men out there. There's just a lack of willpower to develop what you want to be with. All of us are not complete products. I mean, I wasn't dressing like this when I was with I had to graduate in dressing. I had to work better. I wasn't smelling like this when I started off with her. I had to graduate. So some people don't want to invest in what they want to see. I didn't have a body like this because, you know, I just wanted to do so. No, when I started going to Virgin Active, to work on myself, it was because I wanted to graduate my own relationship, look better for my wife, look better for my children, be healthy. And so when people see me now, or some ladies see you, even when you're tipping them somewhere, they think now you want a relationship of some sort. You know, no, we've got our own people at home who satisfy us, who give us what we require and what we need. The only difference is that we don't want you to come and enjoy the investment that my wife has made into my life all these 20 years.
Yeah. And then how do you handle ladies that throw themselves at you?
Oh yeah, that's a normal phenomenon of becoming an alpha female. Alpha male. The truth of the matter is that once a man reaches a certain pinnacle of excellence in his life, he's going to get women that throw themselves at him. It's just the reality of women. Women are drawn to power, influence. They are drawn to winners. They're drawn to all those types of things. And some of them don't know what to do with it, but just throw themselves to those men.
Yeah.
Again, it's a symbol of a diabolical, a state of mind. It's a state of mind that is very defrauded, that believes that because that person has reached this stage, I'm going to go on to. I'm remembering a video by this singer. What's his name? Genuine or something like that. Or I think it's Genuine. So they were showing his dance moves.
Yeah.
And some guy was like, can you imagine there are women that fell for those dance moves? And when you look at them now at this time, they look so crazy. And you are asking yourself, but people fall for dance moves of this nature. And some women even probably went, and I'm not insinuating that he did it, but you find some women threw themselves at him just because of those awkward dance moves. True. Because he was at his prime on stage. So in reality, don't just settle for women that throw themselves at you. And they're going to come.
Yeah.
They even DM us, even on our phones. They even send us messages. I mean, we even get women sending naked pictures. Full-blown naked pictures. Anytime you come to Cape Town.
What do you do with those pictures? Do
you delete them.
Before your wife sees them, or you tell them?
No, she's got access to our socials. So she can see what happens. And sometimes you even feel like, let me expose these pictures. Let me put them. But they'll block your account because it's nudity. That's why some people don't expose those particular items. But if we were allowed to expose, we would have sent a lot of pictures already. I don't think I'm the best looking man on the planet. However, I believe that what I have done creates a certain level of attraction for certain females.
Yeah, true.
But they will destroy your marriage.
But then here's the thing that I've heard. If a woman is gonna get say one guy in a day trying to get to be in a relationship with him or to sleep with it. And then that's like 7 in a week.
Yeah.
And then 31 in a month.
Yeah.
And then probably they do the numbers and the calculation, I think it ends up on like 500, somewhere around there. So there's a conclusion of Ezakor. There's no way a woman is going to say no 500 times. How do you then do it when yourself?
When you say no 500 times, are you saying that this man sleeps with multiple people?
No, like these men are approaching a lady. So she's going to say, no, I have a man, no, I have a man, no, I have a man.
Yeah.
But she's not going to say that 500 times.
No,
apparently she gets to choose one between the 500.
Yeah. Women at some point, if you put too much pressure, they break. And eventually they accept. And it's not with all women. There's a few out there that are able to withstand that particular position. But some of them, the more you try, eventually they're like, let me give in. Yeah, no, that's a normal phenomenon of life. There are some that go down that road. That some women are also very persistent in trying to get a man. Very persistent. Matter of fact, women these days ask out men.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, no, they go to you and they say, you know what, but you don't feel like you've built something solid. as a man. Like if a woman has to come after you, I mean, you think there's something wrong. How many other people is she going after as a
maybe
woman?
there's that, yeah. There's always a bigger bag. That's what people say.
Of course, of course. And money must never be the central focus of a relationship.
Yeah. And then how do you deal with finances in a relationship? That's a big one.
Yeah,
also.
yeah. So it, like I said, each marriage has its own DNA.
Yeah.
So some people believe in putting money in one basket and then they spread it across and they put pocket money for themselves. Others believe you pay these bills, I pay that bill. So what we call the 50-50 setup. There's nothing wrong with the 50-50 setup.
Yeah.
Some marriages, it's working wonderfully. It's just those ones who don't want to participate in the marriage financially that will come and say, 50-50, man, run away.
Yeah.
You understand? But to be honest with you, I've seen people do 50-50 and it works wonderfully for them. And some of them will be like the husband pays everything, but the woman does the savings through her money. So the picture differs. It's all based on what you as a couple have agreed within the construct of your marriage in terms of how do we want to financially sustain our union. And some succeed in it.
Yeah, but then it's really scary because look at the story of Black Coffee now.
Yeah.
Now there's this thing, you have money, he's doing all the money.
Yes.
Let's just assume that.
Yes.
But he's making say 99% of the money in that relationship.
Yeah.
And then now when there's divorce,
Yeah.
he gets to keep like 50% of that.
Yeah, I don't think that the court actually gave 50% of entirely everything. Must remember the judgment of the case between Black Coffee and Mbali. They won't necessarily put the judgment publicly like that particular manner. Though people, remember South Africa is a very nosy nation.
Yeah, true.
We enter everybody's items.
Yeah.
But the guy didn't exactly lose. I mean, the guy got a deal close to $1 billion from Apple right after the separation, and then went and bought a massive house after that. And you can realize that in some people, if you're financially stable, you can sustain a divorce. But that relationship has been going through that chaos for a very long time. The mistake here was the fact that the person didn't go into an antenuptial contract prior to the lobola proceedings, which is what was supposed to have been, which is what most men should be doing. You must enter an antenuptial agreement pre-lobola, because lobola now, once you pay it and the letter is signed, even if you pay 50% or 30% of it, it's known as a customary marriage, which is known as in community of property. Hence the judgment that was given in that particular case, as we read on the news.
Yeah.
Though we don't have the actual divorce decree that is sitting that we could read. And so if any man wants to marry, and not end up in a situation like Black Coffee ended up in, they have to enter an antenuptial pre-lobola to be able to find themselves in the real validity of what that contract is. Okay. So even though Black now is free, is doing all those types of stuff, it does not mean that Mbali would also be excited about the outcome of these things. Maybe she had hopes of him returning. Maybe she had hopes of him fathering the kids. Maybe she had hopes of him. You never know what's happening behind closed doors. You never know what's the full intention of her heart. Hence, I did not even comment much publicly about it, because there are certain discussions that are going on behind the scene that some people choose not to disclose out there. I mean, Black Coffee released a tweet on X stating that I understand you've got all these narratives that all of you are putting out there, but could you please leave my children out of the socials? Which was a very wise move, because the children are going to grow up seeing people making various videos about their father. That creates trauma in and of itself. And so I believe South Africa must have a certain level of respect towards that particular. And you know why I'm saying this? Because when you go online, you dial Rick Netshiozwi, you'll find people looking for the net worth of Rick Netshiozwi.
True, that's
the
what
wife.
people do.
Exactly. They're trying to get into the areas of my personal life. And I will never post my wife publicly. Never, not even my children. I'll never post them. Because I'm not going to satisfy. How come you don't go and ask a white counselor who his wife is? How come you don't go and ask an Indian counselor who his wife is, who are his children, what's his net worth? Why do you have to go and look specifically for Rick's net worth, wife, and children? What is it that you want in that area? Do you
Because
not?
they always think it's suspicious when you do this thing. Hey, black
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
No ways.
Pull down
Married.
syndrome.
You see, that's the thing.
I mean, even you find even yourself, they're checking who is this particular person, and if they just find one wrong thing,
Yeah.
you understand, they will go and drag you all over the internet. I remember Vusi,
Yeah.
Tembekwaya once said something very interesting, great, phenomenal man that I've met before. And he said these words. He said, South Africa, you can go and do a seminar,
Yeah.
business seminar, and they'll look at you and say, but who's him?
Yeah.
Who is this particular guy? And you go outside and the world loves you.
Yeah.
And then South Africa, that's when they will come in and say, yeah, no, Vusi is from South Africa.
Or they start claiming you.
They start claiming you on top of that. But the reality is that you never applauded the person when they were here. You never attended their seminars when they were here. You never appreciated them. You wanted to pay them peanuts. Now that the world loves you, you understand? That's when now you want to claim those particular people. And unfortunately, that's how South Africa works. When our people become big, loved by the world, that's when we want them. And that's when they are non-affordable now.
Yeah, your Tyler even.
Of course.
Even Black Coffee, I feel like it's the case.
Same thing. I mean, if Black Coffee built music in SA.
Yeah.
He's one of the core pillars of what music is today in South Africa. But we can't even celebrate that. We are literally dragging. Do you know when it comes to Black Coffee's marriage, the only people that dragged him on the internet was Mzansi people. You go try and find a foreign person that dragged Black Coffee online. You're going to be searching even till tonight.
Yeah.
Because the world loves him for his music. But Mzansi will not look at your gift and what your successes are. They will be trying to pull you down, fight you, scratch you, all those types of things. And then they'll say, you are trending now. But trending on what capacity? Trending on the capacity of pull down syndrome.
Yeah, true.
Which is quite deadly.
Yeah, it is in South Africa. Eh? It's a good thing. It's a thing, like we've made it a norm. Yeah.
Of course.
We need to take you down.
Yes.
And then also, before Rarkwambanga, stepping up now.
Yes.
I think that's a huge one that we must touch on also.
Stepfathers.
Like, how do we handle such thing? Okay, I'm in a marriage now.
Yeah.
Things don't work out. Maybe there's abuse. I decide to leave. And then I have kids now. Now they need to understand where I have kids and all that.
Yes.
How do we then step up as men? Well, I'm ready to take this. I almost call it a burden, but it's not.
It is a burden.
Okay, yeah.
It will always be a burden because when you enter in that relationship of a stepfather, you're going to pay school fees even in the next 2 months. I'm telling you the truth. You might even, we have many men that come and they say, you know what, this stepfathering thing is not for me. Because some single mothers enter the relationship as a scapegoat to financial freedom. And you won't know as a man until you study the real core of what is taking place. Because you might find yourself being given sex, love, you're told nice things, but the real motive is that you must come and father these children.
Yeah.
And now you are there, you are acting, and then when they reach 19, 18, those children, they tell you, I'm looking for my real father now. Your investment you made from the age of when they were young to just goes down the window. And you need to be very thorough before you enter. So I always say, if people have children and they want to marry someone else, go get someone with children.
Give me to me one at least.
Yes, go get someone with you. Because now you understand the pain, the effort. You have a certain level of consciousness towards what you are getting into. But now when you go and look for other people without children now and you want to settle down with them, forgive them for not understanding what they've just entered, because that thing comes at a price. Stepfathering is not cheap. Stepfathering is not even cheap to the emotion of a man.
Yeah.
And she will love the child more than you. That's a reality you need to accept. If it's a reality you can't accept, that's why I wrote a book called Marrying a Single Mother. And it does not make them bad people. Some of them became single mothers because their husbands passed on. Some became single mothers because their husbands had sicknesses. Some of them, they became single mothers because they willfully divorced a good man. There are many reasons why women become single mothers.
Yeah.
However, if you've noticed, the phenomenon is not the same against single fathers.
Yeah.
Single fathers, if you've heard, there's no complaint about single fathers.
Yes.
Because they go and they build up the family. But single mothers, you're coming across toxicity, you're coming across burdens, you're coming across, and that person might even get into the relationship damaged. And now you have to fix that person first. And on top of that, even care for the child. It's a responsibility you enter from day one.
And then, is that why people say women don't care if you love them or not, as long as you can love their kid when you come to step up?
Oh, yeah. There are some women that are like that. Not all of them. Some of them already know that the child will leave at a certain age and go and build their own house. But some of them will be like, you know what? If you can't love my child, you can't love me. And unfortunately, that's not true. You know, even in the animal kingdom, the lions, when a male lion comes in to defeat the alpha, it even goes and kills the children of the alpha. In the animal kingdom, even animals can't raise the child of another male animal.
And we are animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should understand, guys.
But the truth is, there's nothing wrong with step parenting. It must be done within a proper, structure. It must be done within a proper mindset. It must not be, you don't hijack somebody's son to raise the child of another man. Do it properly, openly, and transparently. It's not a bad habit. It's an honorable thing for a man to raise another man's child properly and give them values and so forth. However, it's not an honorable thing when you are hijacked to then go and raise the child of another. And there are lots of single mothers, by the way. South Africa is plagued with single mothers.
But then also there's a few number of men also.
Yeah.
According to the states.
Yeah.
So what do you mean up?
No, most men, they can be able to raise the children. What I've noticed with most men who are single fathers, their wives died, maybe of sicknesses, a car accident or something, and they need to now get married. I've noticed most of them balance life well, very much well. So, and in some cases, so long as the baby mama has passed on, some marriages work out. But I'm not wishing for people to pass on. But stepfathering, forget about it being easy. Forget about it being easy.
Yeah, and then before we close, you're speaking of Cape Town when we were coming here.
Yes.
It's not marriage friendly.
Oh, no, it's not.
Why is
Cape
that?
Town, Durban, and Johannesburg.
Really?
These are not marriage friendly places.
Why, man?
So I've decided to put 3 books together. Cheating in Durban, cheating in Cape Town, and cheating in Johannesburg. We're going to release them next year.
Yeah.
So I took every case I came across and I decided to write some principles concerning cheating in these particular spaces. I can walk out here and people will see my ring that I'm married.
Yeah.
And they'll still walk up to me and say, hey, I saw your videos online, fantastic, but they just want to engage a conversation to then get benefits from you. So I've come to that place where I've learned to realize that cheating is easy now. And if you are not careful, the region of Cape Town, they are very phenomenal, beautiful women. Some are a mixture of colors and Xhosas. Some are a mixture of colors and Indians, or white and Indian, or white. And so there it's a mixed breed nation. And if you're not careful, beauty might sweep you off your feet and you might lose your values. So that area is not easy for some men. I remember one guy in Venda, we were sitting as men just enjoying laughter. And he's like, yo, I married my village woman, and he's like, I flew to Cape Town. And hey, the first time I landed, I've never seen such beauty in my life. He's like, the skin was like milk. The guy started expressing.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, so what did you do? And he's like, hey, I went and I, tried to have some fun. And I said, but does your wife know? And he's like, no, she doesn't know. But hey, I think I made a mistake.
She doesn't have to know.
You understand? He said, I think I made a mistake marrying my village woman. Yeah, that's what he said.
I thought the mistake is what he did in Cape Town.
In front of everyone. I mean, every guy. Because, it was just a male conversation together. And so that story, I took it, you understand? And I wanted to understand. So my father was like to me, my biological father, he was like to me, the reason why I made you travel South Africa through sports, through all these types of things, was because I wanted you to have exposure. And some men make decisions to marry without exposure. That's why when they land their feet in Durban and they see a Zulu lady, and they're like, Mama, yo, I have never seen a body structure like this, because you are there coming from an obscure village somewhere that is not developed, the municipality is being looted and all those types of things. And you realize that before you marry, you must get exposure. You must see places, you must see people. Before I got married, I had already seen Durban, Cape Town, Free State. I had already seen all these places. I'd seen women with dark skin, yellow skin. I'd seen curvy, non-curvy. I'd seen pear body shape. I'd seen all of them. So it was now a matter of, okay, but all these shapes and sizes are not my motive now. Though I need to have attraction to my spouse, but I think I'm looking for more other substances that can help me build a life of value.
Since we don't know your wife and she's not there in public,
yes,
is she short or tall?
She's short.
Is she dark or light?
She's light. Light skinned, yeah. And she's Venda. Yeah.
Guys, help me. Maybe people will start coming to know I am the one.
She's Venda.
She's from Venda also, like.
Yeah, she's from Romondo to be exact.
Okay, narrow it down.
Narrowing it down to that item. You must always protect what is sacred to you. And I believe that a man that really loves his woman will not use her for content, literally. And the reason why I'm saying that, I know there are people who make couples content and stuff like that. But if you really want to protect your family from the evilness of society out there, I mean, one day they can kidnap your wife and ask for a ransom. And you are sitting there thinking, but I look like a millionaire online. But now they want a ransom. I don't even have close to 1,000 in my account. You must protect what is sacred to you. My children are protected as well.
Yeah. And then another last statement in terms of cheating. There's this one. Every man cheats. Yeah. But some choose to control it, but then some just don't have the finance to support it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Some they don't. So remember, money is an exposer. So if you don't have money, there are certain characteristics we'll not know concerning you.
Yeah.
So money exposes the true intentions and true reality of a person.
Yeah.
So I remember one guy came and he's like, women will never make me fall. You understand? And I looked at him and I said, oh, is that so? And I looked at his wife and I looked at, the thing, and I said, you know what? I think you should see the world. So I told him it's very easy to say I won't fall when only ugly women are approaching you. You understand? And it's very easy to sit down as a woman and say I'll never fall when poor men are approaching you. You can't get a test until that which you value and treasure comes into your life. So money is an exposer. So some men, you won't know if they're cheaters until money comes into their hands. That's just the reality of life.
Yeah, no, but that's what we need now.
Exactly.
And then also, what is it in there? They will cheat also.
Yeah, most women, especially in my line of work that I have seen, influential men, moneyed men, if they come across stuff like that, some of them are willing to give up their values and morals for that. Women, so long as it's power, sex, and money, PMS, that's the only way you can get them falling out of their route of morality.
Yeah. Okay, and then also now, back to you, Rarko, Bairo, Wanana, last year and all this, because you're always fully booked.
Of course.
So I saw this other time you were fully booked in Durban. Like all the dates were, I'm like, okay, well, you're here posted on me because it's fully booked.
Yeah.
Just to show people,
yeah.
So I wanted to ask, Ori, like, how do you ensure, Ori, you keep having all these sessions that they're always fully booked? Because
of course. Of course. And the thing is, if you're good at your craft and you're good at your work and you're restoring marriages and you're building up business. Remember, I don't do marriages only.
Yeah.
I'm also a business mentor, seminar speaker and stuff like that because I've also got my own businesses as well. And so people see the value you add to them and then they come through and they book and so forth. So if we say we're flying down to Cape Town, sometimes even before we even land our feet in Cape Town, bookings are full from Monday all the way up until Saturday because we believe in one-on-one counseling. We don't necessarily believe in seminars, and a lot of people don't know that. That's why we rejected 54 bookings this year for seminars.
Sure.
Literally, we didn't take them because we really want to fix marriages. And seminars don't do justice for that. That's why we'll always take compact groups. so that we could have even question and answer sessions after that.
Yeah.
But next year, I remember next year, one of the people called us and they said, "No, man, you can't keep taking down our bookings, man. Look, we understand you don't like seminars and stuff like that, but really come through, man," and so forth. So that's why next year we have now opened up to taking bookings and so forth. But now exactly. But now we have to shift our calendar heavy because we have a very strong flight schedule. We have a very strong office schedule, and we've counseled over 10,000 couples to date, literally. So we've got a plethora of experience when it comes to marriages.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, even myself, I also say this. It doesn't mean when I counsel marriages and I've got a very good success rate of over 76% of restoring marriages that come in book, it doesn't mean that I myself won't end up in a separation. No. I'm not self-righteous to that extent.
Yeah, you're not immune. Even
I'm not immune to it. Even myself, I can go through such a challenge.
Yeah.
It does not mean if I'm good at it, I won't face it. Even doctors go through sicknesses as well, that they need to get medication for or go to other specialists for.
Yeah.
So I'm also doing the best for my marriage that I believe can work based on the fitment of our destiny and purposes.
And then where's your biggest client?
Biggest clientele base?
Here in the UK or in South Africa? There in the UK, USA, or
biggest clientele base we've got is Johannesburg number 1, Durban second. Durban was actually number 1, but now it's second.
Yeah.
And then third comes the United States.
Then the UK, how is it going?
The UK is not really that bad, The UK, last I checked, I think it was on 6th on our log because we take our own statistic. But the highest separations that we have is Johannesburg.
Yeah.
That's the highest. And we also, Durban is the highest for cheating. For cheating. Johannesburg is more the highest for separations. When we go to the United States, it's both. Yeah, that's where you see the biggest problems when it comes to that area.
And how do people abroad trust you? From South Africa, and then you come and do this thing for us.
We have couples that even fly from Dubai to come for counseling. We have couples. I remember one guy literally booked me for a whole week in Durban, and we went there. They were even ordering food when we were running their sessions.
He's the one who was cheating there.
Literally.
Trust me.
Yeah. No, the guy flew down. He was flying down for advanced premarital. We even brought other doctors to take blood samples for them to check for cancer traits, blood pressure traits, and so forth. They wanted to make sure they are marrying properly into the item. They booked tickets. They flew down to Durban. They slept at the capital, the Pearls, as people know it, and we ran session day after day after day. We had a good time with them. Even till today, they're still married. So we have people that fly from various countries. Some even fly from Sierra Leone. We have ones that fly from the UK. We had one now recently who flew from the US to run a 3-day session. So when they listen to you online, and that's why I say that South Africa must start appreciating its talented people.
Yeah.
Before the world starts to appreciate, because then they become unaffordable.
Yeah.
We were even thinking at some point, because we've got an office in the UK and also in the US, we were even thinking at some point that, maybe we should run 3-month sessions in the US and 3-month sessions in the UK and so forth. Because here you can counsel a couple and then they'll come to you, they say, okay, give us your registered body. We want to send a complaint.
Oh.
You understand? And you say, but what complaint? Because I felt what you said did not hit me well. Here, they even try to destroy where you are registered.
Yeah.
But that outside there, they'll be like, we appreciate it. That wisdom won't work for us. However, we appreciate. You even see the treatment. It's different.
Yeah.
Here, you can counsel a male now and will tell you straight, I'm not going back to that guy. You can counsel a woman now, tell you straight, I'm going to write an email to the board that you are registered with because honestly speaking, I don't feel you solve, not necessarily solve, I feel you're taking the side of my wife. You're taking the side of my husband. And you realize that you're not building here.
And then for those ones that are watching, probably they might want to get married. Actually, we have one age is yet. They should be getting married. Married in a few. So if they want to know of your packages,
So
What do you have?
we've got premaritals, we've got basic premarital, business premarital, and advanced premarital. However, advanced premarital is booked for the rest of the year. It's fully filled up. Matter of fact, it filled up before we even reached April. The advanced,
this year.
and it's the most expensive on
Yeah.
top of that. Then business premarital was designed for couples who are in the entrepreneurial space. And that's why it's got 2 sex classes inside. Because of the traveling schedule, your intimacy needs to be at its highest so that nobody can feel the vacuum that might be there somewhere. That's business premarital that we do. We teach about trusts, contracts, antenuptials, finances. We deal with parenting within an entrepreneurial structure and so forth. Then we've got basic premarital, which is the cheapest one we carry, which is where we teach you the normality of marriage and how to build marriage. And most people, when they come, that we've noticed, business premarital, we're only left with 2 slots for the remaining year. Yeah, no, people who are serious about their relationships look for help. People who come there and they say, yeah, no, we're just going to get married, pay lobola, let's go out there and see how we figure life out. Life will figure you out. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, yeah, that those are the packages that are there for business for the different types of premaritals that people can buy into.
And then if they want to buy into those packages, how do they then
They
contact
can.
you?
The best to use our WhatsApp line. +2767 703 3585. It's the quickest and best way. Or they can go straight to our website, ricknetshiozwi.com or .co.za. They can sign up there, and we can be able to load them into the system. And then we start running. We run both virtual and non-virtual, since we have offices in various places.
You really are international. Even your number starts with +27. You don't say 0.
Yeah, no.
Like +27. And then also with the books, if they want to purchase any of those.
Straight to the websites. Most of them are out of stock. They sold out. We've got a new printing stack that's coming in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So we have people that are buying, but most of the people that are buying are international. We don't really have a lot of local people buying. Remember, South Africa is not a high reading space. It's a high visual space.
Which is why you have a huge following on TikTok. So they prefer what you say.
They prefer watching and so forth. Then TikTok, we know that will reach 1 million very soon. We're currently on 821,000 followers right now. And that's in less than 2 years to be exact. And obviously we're gunning for 1 million.
Yeah.
We just passed 400,000 on Facebook. And Instagram, I think, is on about 84,000 and stuff like that. We're building a really good brand, but our main focus remains to solve marriages. Singular counseling as well. We don't just do marriages. We've also got traumatic counseling, single people counseling. We've got destiny counseling, career counseling, all those types of things. They're also there. It's just that we are most known for the specialty of marriages.
Yeah, and then in closing, anything you want to say to our audience, like whether male or female?
Yeah, there's nothing so important like investing towards your own life. Like investing towards your life is the best thing you'll ever do. Sometimes people can discourage you from what's valuable and what can actually give you a future that has value. But don't follow the masses. Follow what the few do. What the few do is what works. That's the reason why we have only few multimillionaires. Matter of fact, we only have 36,000 millionaires in South Africa. And so that should help you to realize that what the few do is what will make it work in your life. So buy into what's productive, progressive, and you'll be able to reach far in life. And whatever problem you're going through is just one counseling session away, and we're waiting for you.
Are you one of the 36,000?
That one, let me run away from it.
I'm going to let him finish and then ask after.
They will decide themselves.
Yeah, they should. I think I know also. But then either way, thanks for coming, man.
No, it's a pleasure.
You're flying to London now also?
Yeah.
You're busy, man.
Yeah, no, we have to run our sessions and we have to see how far we push with them. Yeah. And after that, then we're coming back to South Africa for the rest of the year. We only take our holidays in January. So we work throughout December, and then January is when we take our holiday.
Is that the only time where you give your wife time?
No, my wife and I have time all the time. I see my wife almost every day. I see my wife. She's in the banking environment.
Okay, another clue.
But we work very much together. And she is very supportive. And look, I've got a wife that cooks for me almost every night, that literally checks up on me, that works out with me. So I've really got a wife that we invested, you understand? We didn't just get here. We had our own fights, our own conflicts, our own in-law crises and so forth, which we worked out along the way to become what we are today. If you get somebody who's flaunting their marriage as if it's 100% and it just started off as 100%, you are being lied to, or you are being sold dreams.
Yeah.
But we worked on it to be where we are today.
Yeah, I want to be there also at some point. Hey, the do it as a bookie. Yeah, I'm coming there. But then yes, I was still saying thanks for coming and have a safe trip. But what you London, I really appreciate you finally came.
Oh yeah,
it's always been my dream. I'm like, I need to have this person because I just have one question all the time when I get a person. This is the one question I want to ask.
Yeah,
how does it work in your industry? How does it work in yours? How does it work? So I was like, oh, this man is speaking marriage. I'm going to ask him about marriage and educate our audience.
And we did. And we did work it out. And one thing I can always say, it's not everybody out there that can counsel marriages.
Yeah.
Some people fail in marriages and they become counselors.
Oh, yes.
Some people, they fail in their singleness and they become counselors. And what can you learn from that other than the fact that their own knowledge did not work for them? So it's very important to get counsel from people that have really built organic lives that really reflect the true picture of how far they have come from. But all of us nowadays, people, they're just buying into any Jim and Jack. That's why I appreciate this podcast, because you're getting people of substance to come and speak and provide valuable insight.
Yeah, please help me with that. People always want to come, and I ask myself, what are you gonna come and say to my people? Because when you go feel, okay, I was got these quality people, and then all of a sudden, it's run out of gates. It's just bringing us anyone. So that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, substance is important.
So thanks a lot for coming, as I said. And then, an hour or 2 hours is never enough. There's books that he mentioned that you can go and buy, read. There's the ones that Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, the ones that are coming. Also buy those ones depending on where you are. Maybe eventually, when you start crying, because your crisis in Venda. So yeah. So thanks for watching Ushkaponon, and then we coming at you live from Panda Studios. As I always say, if you want to book their studios, the number is 010-023-2939 or info@pandastudios.com. And this episode was brought to you by MR21 Funerals and Insurance. Actually, in December, towards the end, in the one MR21, so be on the lookout. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.